Today I'm going to continue with the same module, that is the business skills for e-commerce, and the same chapter, that is chapter number 1, that is introduction to e-commerce. Till now we have discussed about the limitations of the e-commerce, that is in the last class we have discussed what are the limitations of e-commerce, because as we know, as anything have some pros, so there are some cons also. So there are some limitations of e-commerce that we have studied in the last class, and today I'm going to continue with the same limitations only, and then wind up the chapter, that is chapter number 1. So let's start the session with the previous class session. So let's start what we have discussed in the last class. In the last class we have discussed about the limitations of e-commerce. Started with the limitations of e-commerce, that is what are the limitations that is available with the e-commerce. That is what are the limitations that is available for e-commerce. Just a minute. So we have discussed that there are two categories of e-commerce. One is the one. There are two categories of limitations of e-commerce. One is the non-technical limitation. One is the technical limitations. So we have discussed about the technical limitations as well as the non-technical limitations. Technical limitations include the limitations like what are the technical difficulty, what is the difficulty in terms of the hardware, system security, standards. So there are some difficulties that is available, that is a technical limitations. And the non-technical limitations includes the various limitations like lack of awareness, lack of stability, lack of goodwill. So these are the various stability or the various goods that is available for the network. So we have discussed about the technical limitation that includes the lack of the system security, reliability, standards, communication, protocols. Then the next is there is insufficient telecommunication bandwidth. Software development tools are still evolving and changing rapidly. So these are the technical limitations, that there is a insufficient telecommunication bandwidth, that is the bandwidth is not correct for the e-commerce, because e-commerce requires a high bandwidth. Then we have also discussed that some software or some hardware are not fitted with the some operating system. This is the point, that some e-commerce software might not fit with some hardware or may not be incompatible with the operating system. There are some software that is not compatible with every operating system. That is also a technical limitation of e-commerce. Then we have discussed about the non-technical limitations, that is not related to the technical part but related to the non-technical part. One of the best limitation is lack of awareness. That is, there is a lack of awareness among the individuals, among the persons, about how to use the e-commerce and how to do the transactions over the e-commerce. So this is the biggest challenge before successful e-commerce over the net, is that of changing the mind and attitude of the merchants. So one of the major hurdles that is available, that is there is a lack of awareness among the persons about the e-commerce. So if e-commerce has to be an alternative means of doing business in India, a new awareness is needed, something that would cut through the hype and the US look alike. Then most of the businesses people do not understand the significance and the implication of the electronic business medium, or are unsure of the quality and the delivery schedule, physical delivery of goods and mode of payment. So most of the people do not understand how to do the electronic business medium, and or are unsure of the quality and the delivery schedule. So if there is lack of awareness about the technology, there is poor quality or poor growth of the e-commerce. Many companies are not willing to accept that their businesses needs a revolutionary change to subsist in the potentially digital world. So this is one of the hurdle, that there is lack of awareness among the people that how to use the e-commerce. Then the next title, the next limitation is the lack of infrastructure. That is, there is a lack of infrastructure in terms of the e-commerce. That is, the e-commerce infrastructure development. It at infancy stage in India. So this book mostly refers to the India because there are authors that is available or that is from the India only. This unsatisfactory development is yet another major bottleneck for successful net business in India. So this unsatisfactory development, that is unsatisfactory e-commerce development, is major or yet another major bottleneck for the successful net business in India. The lack of infrastructure, if made available as required, will ensure that the investment in e-commerce start following in because the business is happening and the infrastructure will grow. So this is one of the limitation, that there is a lack of infrastructure, there is no space available, there is no room available for doing the transactions over the internet, there is a lack of bandwidth, there is a lack of internet connection for the e-commerce. Then the next limitation is lack of confidence. There is a lack of confidence among the people to use the internet. There is a lack of mostly people will have a hesitation to do the transactions over the internet, as they sometimes they think that their money goes waste. Sometimes the stock is not available, so that there is a lack of confidence among the people, like timely delivery, lack of confidence. Then next is your skeptic attitude. That is, the internet is growing in a very fast speed or grow at a very fast speed in nowadays. So the shoppers are still skeptical about the safety and not been quick to trust sending personal information. So mostly people have some attitude that do not give the personal information over the internet, as anyone can capture the information, and that information will be used in an unauthorized way. That is also a non-technical limitation, that most people think that do not give the credit card details, credit card number, address over the internet. Then the next category is your credit card frauds. That is, there are some frauds also that is available on the internet. That is also a non that is also a non-technical limitation, that some people think that there are some credit card frauds that is available over the internet when we make the transactions over the internet. So that is also a bigger problem, that is of security. But believe me, all credit card transactions are approved offline and give the high incidence of frauds. But when we do the transactions online, there is a no, never do the frauds over the internet, because I agree that there are some frauds, but most of the cases there is no fraud, because we are giving the transaction number, or we are giving the number in an encrypted form. So how is that possible to do the credit card frauds with the credit card number? Other drawbacks may include that the buyer are quite prepared to boot the real mail for email. The e-tailers themselves are not yet ready to keep pace with the potential e-commerce, and this brings us to the another point. Now the next category or the next non-technical limitation is absence of tax laws. That is, there is absence of tax laws, there is no tax laws available, there is no rules regulation that is available over the e-commerce. So this says e-commerce over the net has effectively eliminated national boundaries. This has imposed an important question, that how to or when to or what is the amount of the tax that is levied on the internet. So there is an absence of the tax rules, there is no tax that is applicable, or there is no tax amount that is applicable over the transaction amount. So net business posed in many peculiar technology and legal issues problem, making it difficult to impose the tax and formulate a single taxation policy. So when we do the transactions online, it is difficult to impose the tax over the internet. The following are the various tax implications of e-commerce. That is, what are the implications, what are the tax implications over the internet, over the e-commerce. First one says there is no fixed or there is no fixed physical location for the internet. Yeah, this is also correct, that there is no physical or there is no fixed physical location for the internet. It is difficult to monitor or prevent transmission of information or electronic cash over the internet. This is also one of the limitation, that there is no way to transfer the cash over the internet. So these are the various tax implications, or these are the various rules that we follow when we use the e-commerce. So these are the various points. So sorry. So it is reliable that the net to be turned as potential free trade zone. The next category of non-technical limitation is the cyber laws. This says another important problem is the lack of comprehensive cyber laws so as to ensure safety and precautions. There should not be any legal regulations or barriers to faster and increased development of e-commerce. The crying need of the hour is an urgent action to be taken by the government to enact cyber laws. That is, there are some rules regulation that we follow while doing the transactions over the internet. So the crying need of the label is an urgent action to be taken by the government or to enact cyber laws, including electronic fund transfer, that is the EFT, and amendment of the Official Secret Acts. Cyber laws are not in place. In other countries, the business communicating is moving ahead and the government regulations are there. But some in this is also the limitation, that there is no rules and regulation laws that is available over the internet when we do the transactions. In addition to them, the fear regarding the security aspects of online transaction without proper government rules, directives also lead to the cyber criminals or criminalities, because mostly people think that there are no rules regulation, there is no laws available with the government, so why can't I take the opportunity to take the fraud over the transactions of internet. Then the next is stock dilemma. So this is one of the important, that the next limitation or the next non-technical limitation is stock dilemma. Many people do not happy with the e-commerce trends. Why? Because when we do the online shopping, there are some conditions, there are some scenarios that there is a stock or there is a product that is not in stock. So this is one of the dissatisfaction among the persons, that the product is out of the stock. So this is one of the limitation of the non-technical limitation and one of the important limitation of the e-commerce. In most cases, advertisement, product or services are not available over the internet, right? Then lack of true strength, that is the lack of the true strength is the presence of the web alone will not ensure successful e-commerce. Having a website or .com is no longer a novelty. They must accept the true strength, that is there is a proper bandwidth, there is a proper medium for ensuring or for dealing with the customer, provide the customer care, provide the effective services to the customers. There are many people who are connected to the internet but cannot browse the web, and they are only availing the email facility for communication. The next is lack of skills and expertise. That is, there is a lack of skilled person, there is lack of trained person that is available who do the transactions. So there is a lack of skills and the expertise available among the persons who are doing the transactions over the internet. The use of the net for trade requires a complex introduction of servers, browser software, and the knowledge of web designing. So when we do the transactions, there are some options for you have or person have a knowledge of the hardware, software, and the web designing, how to post, how to do the hosting, promotions, skills. So these are the various factors that is required. So that needs us expertise on the subject, expertise on the internet. Right. So for many business houses, for which commerce over the internet may not work, would take a lot of efforts for every little return. Then next, internet outrage. This is again one of the non-technical limitations that the internet outrage. That there are so mostly of the time there is a failure in the network and the net itself can play a havoc. That is, whenever there is a failure on the network or the internet, that also plays a havoc, or that's also a critical condition while doing the transactions, because I apply or I take out the or buy the product, I give the credit card number, I give the debit card number, and suddenly my network fails. My payment is gone, but I cannot deliver the or I could not get the product. Why? Because it cannot deliver, but my payment is gone. So in between the payment and the delivery of the product, there is a server down. So my money is waste. So internet outrage is one of the important and non-technical limitation, that there is an internet proper internet capacity whenever we do the transactions. So reliability is one of the major issue in the net business that need to be attended or that need to be taken off. Then absence of cyber brand images. That is another problem is that advertisement on the net tend to focus on the e-commerce rather than on the brands found in the real world. That is, most of the advertisement is focused on the e-commerce, that is doing the transactions over the internet rather than on the brands, that is this is of this amount, this is of quality, this is of fixed amount. No, there is no giving the brand name, but only trend is only the trend that is available or the focus that is available on the e-commerce. This would prove to be a deterrent in ensuring customer loyalty. The best thing going for it is a brand image and power. That is the best thing that is available going for this is a brand image and the power that is available for the e-commerce. Then the next is inadequate government role. That is, there is an inadequate government role that is available in the e-commerce. The government is not taking a serious view of the e-commerce related information technology in terms of its promotion. That is, government is not serious or government is not taking a serious view of the e-commerce. Spreading awareness, imparting education of the benefits of e-commerce, enacting our cyber laws, amendment to existing commercial laws, developing strong communication infrastructure are the basic or the key domestic roles for the government to play. So these are the various mm, loopholes, or these are the various drawbacks of the government side or from the government side to take the initiative for the amendment of the various rules and regulation. A very small portion of PC owners, non-owners who are unaware of e-commerce perception about the internet is there who is invited or benefited to the source of information. So in simple terms, there is an inadequate government role in the this one. Now, this is what we have covered in the last class. Now, let's continue with the same, that is the next limitation. The next limitation is that no emphasis on commercial exploitation or exploration. That is, there is no emphasis that is made on the commercial exploration. That is, there is no emphasis on the emphasis must be taken on the commercial exploitations. E-commerce is not so popular and widespread in India rapidly because of several bottlenecks like content migration. Most of the PC users surf the net for information rather than for the commercial transaction. There is why? Because there is no or no focus on the emphasis on the commercial exploration. Everyone take the internet, use the internet for seeking out the information. So most of the PC users surf the net for information rather than the potential commercial transactions. This means that the market for this migrated content is very large. Many owners use the net only for the learning, education, games and entertainment. That is, most of the users or most of the PC users or most of the users who are using the internet collect the information only for the or collect the information only for learning purpose, education purpose, games purpose, entertainment purpose, nothing else. To convince e-commerce, that is to convince that consumers are doing the transactions online, that is the e-consumers, e-merchants will have to do a lot of education. Many business houses eventually do not come forward to leverage on some projects in the e-commerce spectrum as it has already done at the high speed overseas. That is, whenever there is a e-commerce or whenever there is a commercial transaction that is doing the businesses or that is doing the transactions over the internet, so more focus is on commercial transactions, not on the seeking purpose, not for only the seeking purpose of the information, but more information or more focus is to be taken on the advertisement purpose, commercial purpose, commercial transactions, that is the buying and selling of goods and services over the internet. Now, that's the next limitation is no uh, en- encouragement from the business community. The business community is extremely an important sector to be targeted for the introduction of any technological innovations in businesses. That is, the business opportunity is extremely an important sector. So it is an important sector that is available or that is targeted for the introduction of any technological innovations in business. It means that it is a business community that sustain e-commerce and greatly influence the thinking and adoption process of various segments of the society. So it is a business community only that is used for the innovations in the business. So there is no encouragement from the business community. There is no proper pattern that is followed that is used for the business community. It means that whenever we use the business that sustains e-commerce and greatly influence the thinking and adoption process of various segments of the society to move forward in the field of information technology. It motivates the people. It means the e-commerce or the business community motivates the people who share the courage and conviction to move the new business paradigm. So whenever we use the e-commerce, it also acts as a tool to convince the people, to convince the business community to take out the or to take care of the e-commerce. So this is one of the limitations, that there is no encour- encouragement from the business community, from the business side. The next category or the next limitation, non-technical limitation, is preferring foreign sites. Most of the people prefer different sites, not only the foreign sites but the different sites. For example, when we talk about the India, mostly people prefer the US sites or the Nigeria sites, and the Nigeria people mostly prefer the India sites because most of the people prefer the different sites and they think that from their country nothing is available. This is the mindset of the people. So they have to take care of the different sites. So this is also the limitation. Why? Because if you take out the goods from other country, it takes 1 or 2 days to deliver first of all. And what else the reason that is available? There are many reasons for this, as they provide the better selection, stock, quality, shipping, customer services, and wide variety of sites among other things. Next limitation is inactive Indian software houses. That is there is no active software houses, that is uh, there is no Indian active Indian software houses in the e-commerce. This says software houses, particularly in India, are not devoted to ensuring strong expertise in the supply chain and the distribution management solutions. That is, when we talk about the India, there are some software houses that do not provide the strong expertise, strong benefits to the supply chain management and the distribution management solution. So there is some lacking in the supply chain management. That is, there is a wholesaler, retailer, and the customer. So there is a not everything is devoted or nothing is devoted to the supply chain management and the distribution management solutions. Efforts are lacking to ensure strategic working on the development of systems which will provide a comprehensive open e-business solutions environment comprising of enterprise applications, internet applications and service, and a special technology to enable companies to participate in the emerging online economy. So efforts are made on the development of the business, comprehensive e-business solution, enterprise applications, internet applications, service that is available that must be participated in the online economy. Technology is in abundance. The hardware and the software makers are yet to work out strategies to ensure e-business privacy and the security solution to net users in India. The technologists who are out of touch with the market, customers and competition need to be work out option and set business strategies. The next limitation is cyber competition. That is, there is a cyber competition. There is a more and more sites are available for the advertisement for the doing the transaction. So there is a cyber competitions among the various, or there is a competition among the various sites of the e-commerce. So it is becoming clear that cyber structure is not enough to support cyber growth. Such a growth rate needs proper planning and world-class global supply chain parameters, because e-commerce is a vast thing or a vast material or a vast property. So there should be a proper planning and there should be a proper world-class global supply chain parameter that needs for the cyber competition. The profit-strapped, non-stuck cyber entrepreneurs have no vision and invest money on this. One should not forget that about the low entry barriers, and as a result, cyber competition is perhaps no more fierce. Cyber competition needs improvement in better contents. That is there are multiple sites that is available. For example, if I'm talking about in India, there are two popular sites that is currently nowadays it's working. One is OLX, one is a Jabong. In the same way, Flipkart, Jabong. So there is a huge competition among these sites, among the Jabong and the Flipkart. So both are the commercial sites that is used for making the transactions. So this is also the limitation that there is a cyber competition among the e-commerce. So every site want that their that should be made the transaction online so that it is used or every customer is attracted with the website. So they give more and more advertisement facility, more and more benefits. So there is a not a proper planning that is available for the e-commerce. It is a great task to pacify angry live consumer and then think how difficult it is assure a last one. So it is also available to make the transactions, or this is one of the non-technical limitation. This means again more investment and more capitalization, which is further from break even. That is there must be a proper guidance, there must be a proper requirement that is needs to be a cyber competition. Now the next is difficulty of re-engineering. That is the next limitation, that is difficulty in re-engineering or difficulty of re-engineering. This point says the web business structure will have to undergo a drastic change and be re-engineered. That is the web business structure that is available. We will have to undergo a drastic change and can be re-engineered. It is not just about having a website or about sticking a web address on conventional advertisement or transferring a few people to a new division or destination. So there is a difficulty of the re-engineering the sites. Suppose I need that my website need to be re-engineered. So it takes a lots of efforts, lots of procedure, lots of rules regulation. It does not that I use that site or I re-engineering a new site so I can use in a continuing domain. No, there must be a rules regulation. There must be a proper guidance, there must be a proper division, there must be a proper transferring of people. So it takes a lots of difficulty. Sometimes the technical part fails, sometimes the non-technical part fails. So there are some limitations. So this is one of the major limitation, that it is very difficult to re-engineering the websites or the web services. So this is also a limitation that it is difficult to re-engineering the sites because it affects the people, it affects the sites, if it affects the existing customers. So it is difficult to reconfigure the or re-engineering the products or re-engineering the websites. The next non-technical limitation is the internet for small businesses. Another problem is that for the major product, a large customer product company needs profiling of customers who undertake transactions through e-commerce. That is another problem that is made of for the major project only. A large customer or large consumer product company needs profiling of customers who undertake transactions through e-commerce. That is a major limitation. That is a small businesses or for the large businesses there is a company need there is a profiling of the customer. E-commerce is still being dominated by the large corporations. Small and business size businesses houses will have to take advantage of everything on the internet. There is a difficulty for the large businesses because there is a large compiling process, there is a large profiling of the customers who want to take the transactions through the e-commerce. So there is a lacking of the procedure for the e-commerce, there is a lacking of the procedure for the large businesses while using the transactions over the internet. So this says e-commerce is still being dominated by the large corporations. Small and medium-sized businesses, houses will have to take advantage of everything on the internet. Online shopping is clearly catching on with customers and retailers that need to be keep pace with growing demands. That is, online shopping is clearly catching on with the customers and the retailers that need to keep pace with the growing demand that is available over the internet. The next limitation is blocking and censorship. That is, there is a blocking and the censorship. People worldwide are under virtual slavery. It has been ISS reported in some media that many countries are blocking their citizens from accessing the net. So this is also the hurdle or one of the limitations that most of the people or most of the countries do not allow their citizens from that country from accessing the net, either partially or wholly. Either they take out, or either they argue with them, either they provide the facility only for the information purpose, that is either partially or wholly. Censorship is enforced by some countries by stopping either a total ban on the net or controlling the excess traffic or installing filters blocking access to websites. So this is also the limitation that there are some countries who block their websites, some websites that is any website that may be commercial website, that may be any social sites like Facebook, Orkut, any site that is blocked, and only the citizens only uses that site that is or that made available by the business. So this is also one of the limitation that there is a sometimes there is a installing of the filters, there is a installing of the um, refinement, there is a involving of the various transactions over the internet. So installing the filters, accessing the traffic, ban on the internet. So these are the various drawbacks. These are the various limitations that is available on the internet. So Indian citizens enjoy unpredicted degree of freedom of speech. In India, there is no foundation for accessing the internet. There is no rules regulation about the citizens. There is no filtering about the citizens. There is no refinement about the citizens. Every person has their own internet. They use them. They take them. They follow them, and anything they can do this. Development in any field may prove uh, detrimental if it does not appreciate the code of ethics. Then the next part is, or the next non-technical limitation is infant stages. Now let's see. Electronic commerce is still in its infant stage. What is the infant stage? It is known as the stage when the child is below the 1 year. That is the child when the child is below the 1 year. That is in months only. That is the infant child. That is the infant. So whenever we talk about the infant, that means very small. So e-commerce is still in infant stage. Indian e-commerce or Indian commerce is establishing itself in the area of internet businesses. That is nowadays only. Also, most of the transactions are doing manually. There is no electronic transaction that is made in India, especially in India. Indian commerce is establishing itself in the area of internet businesses. The concept of e-commerce is still in evolutionary stage. That is, the concept is till now in the evolutionary stage, that some people uses them and some people that not use them. It is a job that still need to be defined. It is a job that still need to be defined, or provide the advertisement, provide the facility to take off. The IT function has not grown beyond the marketing department and the credit cards, merchant accounts, digital signature, and prompt payment. And one has to realize that the e-commerce role is more about harnessing technological resources to deliver profits to the net users. So it is the responsibility of the IT person that has grown, or that has grown beyond the marketing department and the credit card facilities. So e-commerce role is about harnessing technological resources to deliver profits to the net users. Only a few Indian big houses have gone online to explore the potentials of e-commerce. That is, only a few Indian big houses are available that have gone online to explore the potentials of, or to gain the advantages of the e-commerce whenever we do the, or whenever there is a transactions over the internet. That is the commerce over the internet. Next paragraph says e-commerce has yet to take off in India. That is, it is yet to take off in India, yet to take the involvement in the India, because Indian consumers are wary of leaving their real credit card number on the internet. That is, Indian customers are not prepared to give the credit card number over the internet. They eye the neighborhood shopkeeper with suspicion and drive a hard bargain. So e-commerce websites are losing thousands of customers. That is, e-commerce is losing the thousands of customers because of lack of awareness, or because of the lack of the curiosity among the people to take the transactions over the internet. This is the summary, this is the question, and then there is the next chapter, that is the framework of e-commerce. So first of all, let's take a break and then continue with the summary, then finishes this chapter and moves to the next chapter. So let's take a break right now, then moves to the this part, that is the summary part. So let's take a break. So come back from the break. Now let's start the session again. So we have covered the limitation, the whole limitations of e-commerce. The next topic is summary. That is the summary of the chapter. That is the summary of this chapter. So let's start the summary right now. This says, thus, therefore, e-commerce is still commerce. That is, e-commerce is still commerce and still about human beings. Customers are still consumers or customers, and merchant phones people at their end. That is, the e-commerce is nothing but the e-commerce only, or the commerce only, and still about human beings. Customers are still customers. That is, the customers are only customers, and the merchant phones people at their end. They send confidential, personal, and financial information only by email. That is, they send the confidential information, personal information, or the financial information only by the email, or can cash on the phone, or might just prefer to visit in person. That is, most of the person requirement, or most of the person mental abilities, that they only need to, or they send the personal information or the confidential information over the email. E-commerce is just only a way of doing business is online. of doing the business electronically. That is, everyone or mostly person prefer to do the transactions online. So e-commerce is just only a new way of doing the business, or an additional method of doing the business, that is a doing the business online, that is electronically. It is a new generation technology, new method of doing business with new generation technology. Still, there are many drawbacks which fail to benefit the users of technology to a great extent. That is, e-commerce is doing the transactions over the internet, that is making the transactions over the internet. But there are some loopholes, there are some drawbacks also which fails to benefit the user of technology to a great extent. That is, this is the summary. That is, mostly people do not prefer to give the confidential information, personal information over the email. So it is a new technology, it is a new generation technology, new method of doing the business online, that is with the new generation technology. Still, there are many drawbacks which fails to benefit the users of technology to a great extent. E-commerce is to be viewed as business but not as a technology issue. So e-commerce is to be viewed as a business technology but not as a technology issue. It must be business driven but not IT driven, and initiatives must be integrated thoroughly into the existing commerce structure and strategy. That is, it must be viewed as a business technology, must be viewed as a IT driven initiative that must be integrated into the e-commerce structures and strategy. Now, next is this is a summary that what we have covered in this chapter, that is the e-commerce, limitations, benefits, applications, nature of the e-commerce. Now, the next category or the next topic is keywords. That is, what are the keywords that is used in this chapter. First is e-commerce. This says e-commerce means the digitally enabled commercial transactions. That is the when we use the commercial transaction in a digital way, that is with the use of computer. So e-commerce means the commerce with the digital, or commerce in a digital way. So digitally enabled commercial transactions between and among organizations and individuals. That is, the e-commerce means the digital transactions between the customers, between the organizations and the individuals. Then next keyword is EDI. The full form is electronic data interchange. This is a new way, or this is a way to exchange the standard documents in intra or inter organization. So it is a new way to exchange the data or to exchange the standard documents in intra or inter organizations. So electronic data interchange means interchanging the data electronically within an organization or outside the organization. The next is B2B, that is a business to business. That means an e-commerce transaction that takes place between the business to business organizations. Then B2C, that means the e-commerce transaction that takes place between business organizations and consumers directly. Then C2C, that means the consumer to consumer e-commerce. That means that doing the transactions between the consumer to consumer. That is the making the transaction between the customer to the customer. So this is C2C. So these are the various levels of um, e-commerce that we have studied. That is a B2B, B2C, and the C2C, B2B. Next is B2E, that is the business to employee e-commerce. That means the e-commerce transactions taking place between the business organization to their employees. Suppose I am employee over Mercury Solutions. Let's example, my business sold out something to me, and I pay out the amount to the my business, that is a Mercury Solution. That is a B2B or B2E, not B2B. That is a B2E. That is a one business entity is dealing with the, or is doing the transaction with the employees of their organization, of their business. Next is C2B, that is a consumer to business e-commerce. That means e-commerce transaction that takes place between the consumer to business organization. That is, one consumer is sending out the goods, solding out the goods to the businesses. That is the C2B, that is the consumer to business e-commerce. Next, cyber laws, that is the limitations of e-commerce. That is cyber law. That is, it is that law which is used to deal with all cyber crimes. That is a crime done on the internet. So there is a cyber law, that means laws that we follow on the internet, that is a cyber crimes that needs to be deal with the all other cyber crimes. Now next is your self-assessment questions. So let's discuss these questions right now. This is so interesting questions. First of all, what is e-commerce? Can anyone tell me what is e-commerce? Either Joseph, either Larry. Can anyone tell me what is e-commerce? Yeah, hi Larry, hi Joseph. So it is a model way of doing the business online. Yeah, good. So e-commerce means doing the transactions, doing the business, making the purchasing and selling out the goods and services online. That is the e-commerce. So this is a new way, or this is a method to doing the transactions online, doing the transactions electronically. That is the e-commerce. Now, discuss various characteristics, that is the features of e-commerce. Now, what are the features that is available in the e-commerce? First of the one of the main feature that is available is 24 by 7 availability. That is, it is available 24 hour day, 7 days a week, 365 days in a year. That is the all time availability is one of the important feature. Next feature is that user friendliness. That is, user can easily go to the link, click on the link and get the link for the e-commerce, get the link for the commerce. That is another feature of the e-commerce. That is the feature of the e-commerce. That is the feature that is also, yeah, it's also convenient. Convenient means it is user friendly, convenient. That is, users can conveniently, according to their convenience, they can opt the product, they can choose the product. That is the again the feature of e-commerce. Next feature is user friendliness. Next is time saving. As we cannot go anywhere, as we cannot do the work manually, but everything is done in a short period of time, within a seconds. That is a time saving. Next advantage, next characteristics is that high productivity. With the help of e-commerce, there is a high productivity when we talk about the sites over the internet. Right. So these are the various features. There are so many features, but we discuss around 4 or 5 features. So these are the various features of e-commerce. Now, next question is discuss various limitations of e-commerce. That is, what are the limitations that is available in the e-commerce? That is, discuss various limitations of e-commerce. Joseph, can you tell me the answer? What is e-com? What are the limitations of e-commerce? Joseph, are you able to hear me? Can you tell me what are the limitations of e-commerce? I think Joseph, you are not able to hear me. Okay, Larry, can you tell me what are the brief category of limitations of e-commerce? That is, we can divide the limitations of e-commerce into two brief categories. No, no, no. This is one of the limitation. I agree. Yeah, this is also I agree. Lack of system security. But what are the brief category of limitations of e-commerce? We divide the limitations into two categories. What are the two categories? So I will tell you the answer. One is technical limitations, one is non-technical limitations. Yeah, I agree, lack of awareness, that is a part of non-technical. But I'm talking about the brief category. That is a one is technical limitation, one is the non-technical limitation. So there are two categories, there are two parts. One is the technical limitation, one is the non-technical limitation. Technical limitation includes if there is any error in the hardware, if there is any problem with the hardware, if there is any error in the support of the hardware. So these are the various technical limitation. That means the limitation is on the technical part. So only the technical person can check out the error and correct the errors. So this is also the limitation, that is the technical limitations. The next category is non-technical limitations. We have studied so many non-technical limitations, like Larry told me, good Larry, lack of awareness, system security, system compatibility, stock dilemma, lack of awareness, lack of responsibilities, lack of rules regulations, lack of cyber law. So these are the various non-technical limitations that is not related to the technical, but that are the non-technical limitations. So that are the various limitations of e-commerce. Now the next question arises, e-commerce is the new way of to do the business. Justify the statement. That is justify the statement, and that is the e-commerce is the new way to do the business. Yeah, I agree with this statement that e-commerce is the new way to do the business. E-commerce provides a new way to do the business. Why it is a new way? Because everything is doing online. So it is a new way to do the business. That is the way to do the business electronically. That is the so we can write that we can do the transactions online. We can make the transactions online. Everything is doing online. Now, what is the scope of, next question is, what is the scope of e-commerce in India, in country like India? That what is the scope of e-commerce? As I told you, in India, there are some difficulties in using the e-commerce. Why? Because people do not prefer to use the e-commerce because of their lack of awareness, lack of skills. So what is the role or what is the scope of e-commerce in country or in country like India? What is the scope that either it can be expanded or either it can be removed or vanished? So what is the scope? Tell me, Larry, what is the scope of e-commerce? Either it should be updated, either it should be enhanced, either it should be dropped out or vanished. Scope means the levels, or scope means the capability that any organization, that any product can take place. So either in India, either it should be accomplished, either it should be increased, either it should be gone. Yeah, good. It should be or it must be increased. Why? Because there are some lacking issues, there are some lacking in the mindset of the people. So try to first of all avoid them. Try to give the awareness of the people. Yeah, it is okay. If you give the credit card number, there is no issue. If you give the personal information over the internet, there is no issue. So try to increase or try to increase the scope of internet in countries like India, where mostly persons think that there is a harm while doing the transactions over the internet. So this is all the scope that we can do the transactions or that we can increase the scope of e-commerce in a country like India. Now the next category is discuss various types of e-commerce models. That is, what are the various types that is available for the e-commerce models. The various types of e-commerce model means the various levels of e-commerce that we have studied. We have studied 6 levels. One is B2B, one is B2C, one is C2C, one is C2B, one is B2E, one is C2C. So these are the various levels that is available in e-commerce, that is the various e-commerce models. In B2B, one business partner is doing the transactions with another business partner. In B2C, one business partner is doing the transaction with customers, that is the B2C. C2C, one customer is doing the transaction with the another customer only, that is the C2C. C2B, customer is dealing with the business, that is customer is doing the transaction with the business directly. Next is B2E, one business partner is doing the transaction with their employees internally, that is the B2E. Right? Next, what is the future of e-commerce in India? It should be increased, it must be increased by using various options, by using various measures, by using various criteria, by increasing their volume in India. Now, these are the references book. These are the various references book. You can refer these books. Right. Now, the next chapter is chapter number 2, that is the framework of e-commerce. Now, Larry, tell me as per your convenience, should I start this chapter right now or should I start this chapter in the next class, that is in the tomorrow's class? It's up to you. If you think that this is over or you need to refresh the first chapter, then it's okay. Either or if you think that I can start the next chapter also. So it's your opinion because you are the single student I think attending the class. Joseph is not available. So tell me, what's your opinion? Should I continue the or should I start the next chapter or should I stop the class or continue or start this chapter? Okay. Oh, we should start this chapter in the next class. All right, no issues. So if there is any doubt right now with you, so that I can clear this doubt in the meantime. So if there is any doubts, you can clear the doubts to me because there is plenty of time available in the today's class. So if there is no doubts, it's okay. Thanks a lot everyone for listening me. In the tomorrow's class, I will be starting your next chapter, that is chapter number 2, that is the framework of e-commerce. So if there is any doubts, you can ask the doubts from me. So thanks a lot everyone. Bye bye.